Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be taking a look at an article that is from The Guardian, published on April 12th. And all I have to say is the whole situation with Assange is one of these ones where you piss off too many people in powerful places, shit can come back at you. And it's not right. Anyway, the title here: Julian Assange's charges are a direct assault on press freedom, experts warn. But it's more than that, because Assange pissed off establishment Democrats and establishment Republicans, because during Baby Bush's time as president, exposed a lot of shit with Iraq and Afghanistan and just other things in general. And then with the Democrats taking the information from Seth Rich and putting it out there from the DNC servers, that really didn't make too many friends in regards to the Dems. So basically they want his head on a silver platter, and that's what this comes down to at this point. So they're using something that during the Obama administration they said, oh, well, we can't prosecute him for this because it would go against the press and free speech. Now they're like, oh, let's nail his balls to the wall for this. It's ridiculous. Parts of the indictment go head-to-head with basic journalistic activities protected by the First Amendment, academics say. The charge sheet accusing Julian Assange of engaging in criminal theft of U.S. state secrets contains a direct assault on fundamental press freedoms and could have a devastating effect on the basic acts of journalism. Leading First Amendment scholars and advocacy groups have warned. Yeah, it's more than that, though. See, with some of the things that were exposed by Wikileaks, they don't like that those things got out there. They really don't. This is a message, partially, too. This is one of those things of, you push the line and piss us off, this is what's going to happen to you. I mean, that's what's going on here. Besides the fact of, this is payback for all the people in the deep state and the establishment Republicans and Democrats, the neocon, neo-lib, false left-right paradigm dipshits, for pissing them off. This is payback. There's no other way to look at this. Prosecutors in the Eastern District of Virginia released on Thursday an indictment against the WikiLeaks founder that has been under seal since March 2018. It will now form the basis of the U.S. government's request for Assange to be extradited from the UK to Alexandria to face trial. To me, this seems like there was something going on. Like, I've seen some of the stuff that the Ecuadorian embassy, like the ambassador and the president of Ecuador and others are saying, and what Assange was doing. If he was doing those things, that's vile and disgusting and nasty, and I can understand them wanting him out. But this just was a little too convenient, how all of this just happened like dominoes falling. So it makes me not believe in the coincidence just being there. Academics and campaigners condemned large chunks of the indictment that they said went head-to-head with basic activities of journalism protected by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Yeah, this is protected stuff here. We're talking about the Constitution. And yet, you got to love how the DOJ is going to indict someone on something that violates the First Amendment. And they're doing so. They said these sections of the charges rang alarm bells that should reverberate around the world. Yeah. Because this is over some bullshit hacking thing with gender bender Manning. Yochai Benkler, a Harvard law professor who wrote the first major legal study of the legal implications of prosecuting WikiLeaks, said the charge sheet contained some very dangerous elements that pose significant risk to national security reporting. Sections of the indictment are vastly overbroad and could have significant chilling effect. They ought to be rejected. So, this is some messed up shit when they're trying to basically go after the exercise of the First Amendment and exposing them. This is like mafioso retaliation. Let's call it what it is. It's thug, crooked nose, should have the theme of The Godfather playing Retaliation. Carrie DeSalle, staff attorney with the Knight First Amendment Institute at Columbia University, said the charges risk having a chill on journalism. She added the tone of the indictment and public release from the Department of Justice that went with it suggested that the U.S. government desired precisely that effect. Yeah, this is kind of sending a message. That's the intent of this. Many of the allegations fall absolutely within the First Amendment's protections of journalistic activity. That's very troubling to us. Among the phrases contained in the indictment that have provoked an uproar are: it was part of the conspiracy that Assange encouraged Manning to provide information and records from departments and agencies of the United States. It is a basic function of journalism to encourage sources to provide information in the public interest on activities of government. So, what is he supposed to be like? No, and have Manning force it into his hands? Or if he's like, hey, if you've got it, give it to me. That's kind of what's going on here. Encouraging would be, if you've got this information and you want people to know about it, give it to me. I will get it out there. That's basically what WikiLeaks does. It was part of the conspiracy that Assange and Manning took measures to conceal Manning as the source of the disclosure of classified records to WikiLeaks. Protecting the anonymity of sources is the foundation stone of much investigative and national security reporting. Without it, sources would not be willing to divulge information, and the press would be unwilling to fulfill its role of holding power to account. Yeah. If you are being a whistleblower, if you are exposing something, you're going to want to keep yourself anonymous. If you're going to be a possible source for more information, or even that information alone, because if you don't protect your sources, no one else is going to come forward. But the idea is you want to keep that person anonymous and protected because they're taking a risk to expose this, to give you this information so that you can report on it, so that a miscarriage of justice or an illegal activity by government or whatever the case may be can be exposed, so that the general public knows, because the general public has a right to know what its government does in its name. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is such a bullshit charge. It's not even funny. And Obama tried to push this stuff, and I don't understand why this is happening under Trump's watch. And I mean, I understand the fact that if he was to intervene and say, pardon Assange, it would feed the left's delusional bullshit regarding Russiagate and Russia, because, the heaven forbid that they realize it was Seth Rich who exposed Hillary Clinton, not the Russians. This is ridiculous. Even though this has nothing to do with Russia. If Trump was to intervene, they would link it to Russia and they would ride that shit like a $20 hooker. For every bit of worth they can get out of it. It was part of the conspiracy that Assange and Manning used the Jabber online chat service to collaborate on the acquisition and dissemination of classified records. The indictment similarly refers to a Dropbox. Both Jabber and Dropbox are communication tools routinely used by journalists working with whistleblowers. Yeah. So, I don't. This would be like trying to incriminate someone for using a particular social media platform just on that basis, and that's what they're exactly trying to do. So what's next? Are they going to say, "Oh, well, someone communicated with someone on Gab, so therefore they're guilty"? Because Gab is under scrutiny and under a watchful eye of the left in the legacy media and in politics and everywhere else. That's the next step with that. A key element of the indictment is a new allegation that Assange actively engaged in helping Manning to try to crack a password that allowed the U.S. soldier to gain unauthorized and anonymous access to highly sensitive military computers. At the time, in 2010, Manning was working as an intelligence analyst at a forward operating base outside Baghdad. Now, what's funny is that how the hell is he going to help Manning crack this password. They're making it like he was actually involved in like getting it. And I highly doubt there was brute force used in gaining the password. I mean, this makes absolutely no sense. How the hell is he supposed to be helping Manning in the Ecuadorian embassy? You know, he's sitting there chilling out in the Ecuadorian embassy, rubbing cat shit on the walls or human shit, whatever it was shit on the walls and supposedly and all this other stuff. I don't understand how he's supposed to be actively helping someone gain access to a system circumventing the password from the Ecuadorian embassy. That makes absolutely no sense. Was he doing it from a smartphone, or is he... yeah, I don't see it. There's no way he could have any like access to the system to work on it. So how is he exactly helping? Oh my God. Experts on freedom of the press and speech were generally more relaxed about the narrow charge, standing on its own, and that it essentially accuses Assange of violating computer hacking laws. Okay, well, there's no proof of that. Specifically, the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, which is a complete bullshit. I mean, I understand the premise behind it, but the way it's been applied and used is a complete bullshit law. Just look what they used this on, like, Kevin Mitnick, and they held him in prison for a very long time. Yeah. Without, you know, right to speedy trial, they basically denied that. And eventually, you know, got him to, after keeping him under wrap and key, bow down and cuck to them. Meaning the government. So specifically the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, in a way that has no First Amendment protection. If prosecutors succeed in presenting evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to that effect, it is unlikely to arouse a fierce opposition across the board. Now, this is what's funny, is how the hell you have to physically hack a system yourself to be part of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, for you to be criminally prosecuted under it. It's you physically hacking a system. What the hell did he do from the Ecuadorian embassy that would constitute hacking? Bradley P. Moss, deputy executive of the James Madison Project, a public interest group focusing on U.S. intelligence and national security, said he was unflustered by the hacking allegation. I have no concerns about the broader ramifications for press freedoms, whether in the U.S. or elsewhere. What Julian Assange did is what journalists are trained not to do. But he didn't do it. This is what's messed up. There's no proof of this. You have a claim being made that was just tacked on this indictment last minute here. But fears for the chilling impact of the prosecution were rampant. The Center for Constitutional Rights, who late President Michael Ratner was Assange's lawyer in the U.S., warned the threat posed by the indictment was increased by having a president in the White House hostile to the media. He's not hostile to the media. He's hostile to particular media outlets that push fake news, lies, and bullshit about him to get the Trump bump. Let's be more accurate here. This is a worrying step on the slippery slope to punishing any journalist in the Trump administration. This is a worrying step on the slippery slope to punishing any journalist the Trump administration chooses to deride as fake news, it said. Bullshit! This has nothing to do with that. I love how they try to conflate these fake news outlets like CNN and MSNBC, who pushed the fake Russian narrative, the Russiagate bullshit, pushed it. Trying to conflate, calling out those particular outlets with all of media and saying, well, if he's labeling them fake news, he could go after them. No. Oh my God. Trump would not do something like that. And I don't understand why this dipshit is pulling this Trump deranged fucking crap. When Obama was the one who pushed this when it was the Obama administration who started this investigation, who had the sealed indictment, that's on the Democrats. That's on the left. That should be, but no one wants to talk about that fact, that Obama was going to take and try to nail Assange's balls to the wall because he exposed his nasty, shit that the American people had a right to know. This is ridiculous. Two advocacy groups working in the field of press freedom also weighed in. The Committee to Protect Journalists said the wording of the charges contained broad legal arguments about journalists soliciting information or interacting with sources that could have chilling consequences for investigative reporting and the publication of information of public interest. Yeah, exactly. And I don't understand. When you have neolibs, neocons, the deep state embedded in the country, and they got this chance, of course they're going to take it under Trump's watch. They would take it under Hillary's watch. They would take it under anyone's watch because Assange pissed off the wrong people. And these are people that don't forgive and forget. Freedom of the Press Foundation said, whether or not you like Assange, the charge against him is a serious press freedom threat and should be vigorously protested by all those who care about the First Amendment. Yes, exactly. See, we need to, as the American people, say, hey, this guy didn't have any how the hell did he hack from the Ecuadorian embassy, supposedly hack a system that's on a secure network, so on and so forth? How can you... I mean, that's what makes me go, this is ridiculous shit, because you're talking about a system on a secure network. He's in the Ecuadorian embassy, but somehow he's violating, the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. I was going to say Fraud and Computer Abuse Act. But yeah, it makes absolutely no sense. I mean, this should have people going, what the hell's going on here? And calling for this shit to stop. We should be, people should be contacting the White House, calling the switchboard and saying, hey, say something. Even though it would trigger the left, say, look, the American people are with you on this, President Trump. If the left wants to spurg out and claim Russiagate, we know it's not true. The Mueller report is going to, with the summary that Barr released, pretty much clears you. We understand that. Step in on this. I mean, anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm just going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.